This is the moment we look forward to all week long. Larry is in for Dibs, and it is our conversation with the head coach of the Dubs, Steve Kerr, sponsored by Xfinity. The Xfinity 10G network is made for streaming live sports, which means it's the network you can rely on in the biggest moments. The Xfinity 10G network, the best way to stream live sports, and also presented by Great Clips. In sports, success is about team effort. The same is true for your hair. Great Clips. It's going to be great. It was great over the weekend. My son already went in and got a cut. Looks great. Loves it. All right, let's do this darn thing. Hey, Coach, nice win last night.
Yeah, thank you. How you guys doing?
Doing great.
We're doing great. So was that what you drew up, or did that just turn into an ad lib at the end? What? Take us through the last play.
Well, when when Sabonis banked the shot in, I tried to call a timeout, and I was going to sub in a couple people, but we inbounded the ball and we went. And at that point, I decided to let them go. I usually let the guys go at the end because I like the flow of the game. I don't like for the defense to get set or substitute anybody in. Be able to talk about whether they're going to double team Steph or whatever. And so at that point, once we got the ball in, I just let them go. And then I kind of prayed that it would turn out well. But they doubled Steph. Draymond made a great play. Klay got open and knocked down the shot. Is a great finish.
It really looks, Steve, like Klay has his legs back this year. Would you say that's pretty much right on?
Yeah, I think what was great last night was his defense was excellent in the fourth quarter, and Klay is a guy who usually struggles with his shot the first few weeks of the season. I mean, that's been the case for years. So even though he hasn't shot it well, I'm really looking at his legs and his movement, and I thought that was the best he's moved this season. Defensively, he was so good, and I just think I think you're right. I think he had a good summer. He came to camp in good shape, and he's starting to get into a nice groove.
Coach, because of everything you just mentioned and all the other factors, even going back to the injuries, but all the discussion about Klay and the way the playoffs ended last year, what do you think last night meant to him?
Well, I mean, it doesn't matter who you are. If you hit a game winner, it's an incredible feeling. And, Klay is so hard on himself. And, he wants to be perfect. He wants to make every shot. And I think that's one of the reasons why, historically, he struggles with his shot early. And then what generally happens is, after a couple of weeks, he realizes, we got 75 games left. Maybe I should relax and just play basketball. And so I think that's been the case forever. And, the fact that he knocked that thing down last night, probably a sign that he's ready to just settle in and play and not worry about anything.
The vibe with your team this year, Steve, is just great. I just love the feeling coming through the TV. I haven't been out yet, but it's just a great vibe. And I like what I'm seeing when Steph is sitting. It just seems like you got a lot of depth. You got a lot of energy. GP2 seems healthy. You got to feel good right now about what you're seeing when Steph isn't in there.
Well, let's face it, we're coming off the bench with one of the great point guards in NBA history, so that's a huge factor. I mean, just seeing Chris settle our group down, get us into something good every possession over and over again. And then I think, the addition of Dario reminds me so much of 2 years ago when we had Belly and Otto coming in as pick and pop big guys who could really change the equation on the floor and make teams pay for packing the paint. So those two guys have really keyed things. And then, of course, having Gary back from the very beginning this year, healthy and ready to go, and the continued development of J.K. and Moses, it's really made for a great second group. It's fun to watch.
Steve Kerr with us, as he is every week right here on Willard and Dibs, 95.7 The Game. Coach, we had so many conversations last year about what the heck was going on when you guys left home on the road. So I know we're still buzzing about last night, but let's go back to a 3-0 start on the road and what do you attribute that better play away from home to at this point?
Well, this is my 10th year, and I think we've been a great road team. 7 of my first 9 years. Last year we stunk, and then the one year when we were wiped out by injuries, we didn't win a lot of road games. Every other year we've been a great road team. So that's the rule. The exception was last year. So I don't even think twice about this team winning on the road because we've got a lot of talent and we got a lot of experience, and these guys know how to get it done.
It's funny. I love that interview that you did, the extended piece with Monty, and it was some really great stuff in there. One of the things for people who didn't see it that you had in there was that you really want to see your team crash the offensive glass a lot this year. It didn't happen a ton last night, but tell us your reasoning, because there are some coaches that kind of, don't want to give up the bucket the other way and don't see the game that way.
Yeah, it's an area of the game where I think analytics have really made an impact. We get so much data these days, and you're trying to sort through it all. But generally, what's happened now over the last couple of years is more and more teams are sending everybody to the glass. And historically, every coach that I ever had said, maybe one big guy or two might go to the glass, but everybody else has to sprint back in transition defensively to prevent layups. That's how I was brought up for the first, 50 years of my basketball life. But the numbers really show that if you crash more, it actually improves your transition defense because you're picking off more offensive boards and you're keeping teams out of transition, a few extra times per game. And so it's an interesting concept, one where, analytics have really made an impact, and you're seeing teams all over the league now crashing the offensive board, sending 3-4 guys at a time.
Coach, I'm sure you've heard the comments last night from Draymond Green that are getting a whole lot of attention about the team chemistry that you have this year, but he went so far as to say last year's was so bad that it was hard for him to come to work. What was your reaction to those comments?
Well, look, I mean, every season is different, and for Draymond, last year was a tough year in a lot of ways, but he'll be the first to admit that he created some of that himself, and so I think this team has responded in a lot of ways to where we went wrong last year, and Draymond is at the forefront of that. I think he understands this year that he's got to be a better leader. I think he's doing a great job. I think from the summer on, he's really tried to get the troops together and really connect everybody and keep everybody's spirits up. So, last year was tough in a lot of ways, but, the great thing about adversity in sports, if you've got a veteran team, if you've got guys who are willing to learn from mistakes, then that's what we're doing. And we are all doing a better job of connecting the group and creating better chemistry.
Coach, I know all of you want to focus on this year. Do you have any concerns that when Draymond makes comments like that, he's still referencing last year?
Look, Draymond is Draymond. He's always going to speak his mind, and I trust him. We've been together for almost a decade now, and we have a great relationship. And I'm constantly pushing him to be the best version of himself, and he's a guy who's going to speak his mind, and he's been very successful, doing what he's doing, and he's going to ruffle some feathers along the way, but at his core, he's a champion. He's the ultimate winner, and Draymond knows how to handle himself, and I'm not worried about him at all.
It's so funny. It's like teams sometimes either grow together over the long haul or they grow apart. It seemed like, Phil Jackson did a great job of keeping teams together. I kind of feel like that's one of your strengths, Steve, that for the most part, your teams stay together, grow together over the course of the long haul. Is that more difficult than the X's and O's part of it?
I think it's different for everybody. I feel very comfortable communicating with guys, telling the truth. I'm comfortable with the difficult conversations, that I know have to be had. And I think some of that just comes from being on the other end of that as a player for many years. I played for 15 years. Only maybe 7 of them was I actually in the rotation. And I was frustrated for half my career, and I know how all these guys feel. And the best thing a coach can do is just be brutally honest and just tell the truth. And I think the players respect that. And it's something that I know is absolutely crucial. So I'm very, very comfortable with it.
Steve, I've had a chance to talk to you many times through the years, and I'm watching the thing with Monty last night with my 14-year-old, and they're going through your broadcast career. And, they go to a commercial, and I'm like, man, Steve could have stayed in the booth. Probably would have had a pretty nice, easy, comfy, cozy life. And I've asked you this question in the past, but there are people that feel like if you wanted to, that you could be the president of the United States. And you know what? I don't even know if I always agree with you politically. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But I do think that you're the kind of person that I would like running this country. If you did that job, what part of it would you be good at, and what part of it would you struggle with it?
Oh my God! I mean, how am I supposed to respond to that? I'm very flattered. First of all, thank you for the compliment, incredible compliment. But I am so unqualified to do that. I'm a basketball coach, and this is my world. This is what I do. I'm very, very flattered by the kind words, but I don't even know how to answer that. What a leap to go from a basketball coach to most powerful man in the world. That's quite a stretch.
All right, we'll leave it for someone else, I guess. Then Steve Kerr is with us here on 95.7 The Game, as he is every week. Steve, I think you can hear a lot of what's kind of bubbling in the minds of many, which is the chemistry, the vibe, the differences, and you've really pointed to one of the main differences, the obvious one, which is that Jordan Poole's not here, Chris Paul is, and you've mentioned Dario as well. What else, though? What else is different this year?
I just think, and first of all, I think it's unfair for people to just point at Jordan. That's wrong. I mean, last year went haywire for a lot of different reasons. Jordan was fantastic while he was here. He helped us win a championship, and I hate that he gets any criticism. Last year went wrong for a number of reasons, and we all share the blame in that. So what's different this year? I honestly, the biggest thing is the veteran experience. I got to tell you, Corey Joseph has barely played, but he has made such a dramatic impact in our locker room, on our team. We have such a better balance of veteran experience and kind of the right number of young guys, to be perfectly frank. I think last year we were overloaded with youth and, trying to develop too many people at the same time. And it was unfair to all of the young guys that we had so many of them at one time. So I think that's where Mike and the front office and Joe have just done such a phenomenal job this year, is bringing in, Chris, Dario, Corey Joseph, even Jerome Robinson, one of our two-way players, he's just a grown man. He is a leader. He's every day he's getting the young guys together with Corey Joseph. Those guys are kind of leading the charge on the development front, and that stuff matters. It is dramatic how powerful it is, and I just think that the balance of the roster makes all the difference.
Looking at all those people, it feels like, and correct me if this isn't the right word, but it feels like there are a lot more people on the team who you trust with minutes this year, and we're seeing it even with the minutes numbers for the starters. Steph and Klay, just 32 and 29 minutes respectively last night. Is that something that we should expect as the norm this year?
Well, you look at it right now, our top 10 guys They're playing every night. We come off the bench, with Chris, Dario, and Gary, who are all, veteran players who've been around this league and been through an awful lot. And now they're on the court with Moses and JK. And so, bringing along the two younger guys with that group, where every possession makes sense. Chris is getting them organized. Dario's spacing the floor. Gary's guarding the best player. It's just a dramatic difference versus, trying to have, a large group of young guys together. And that's the difference. And so, Moses and JK in their third years are so much better than they were 2 years ago. And they're playing with veterans who can, help them grow even more. So it's just a really good fit all around.
Steve, two names in the news I got to get your thoughts on. And I always love when you talk about, things outside of Golden State because you got a wealth of opinions. You're the U.S. Olympic team coach, and, the general, Bobby Knight, passed this week. He was the former Olympic team coach in '84, cut Barkley. Do you ever have did you ever cross paths with Bob Knight anywhere along the line? Do you have a thought on his coaching run? And also Bruce Bochy. I mean, come on, Boch wins the World Series.
Yeah.
What a story that is. I know you're a San Diego guy. Boch spent a lot of time there. Any interactions with Boch that you can share with us?
Well, I texted him last night along with, every person in his contact list. And I could not be happier for Boch. I spent some time in his office over the years, over at the ballpark, and we've texted the last couple of years, since he's been out, and we check in occasionally. I love the way he handles his teams. I love his humility, but combined with his expertise and his confidence, he's just a brilliant coach, brilliant manager. So couldn't be happier for Boch. As for Coach Knight, first of all, of course, condolences to his family. I have great memories of just watching him, as a kid growing up, and then when I was in college, he at Arizona, he was at Indiana and won a title in, I think, '87. So he was, just a brilliant coach, dominant coach at the time, and obviously incredibly controversial. I don't think he'd last 5 minutes today, but, in his era, he was effective. And I think the biggest testament to him is if you ask his former players, the vast majority of them swear by him and said he made a wonderful impact on their lives. So, I didn't know him much, met him a couple times, but, what a controversial character and a guy who made a huge impact on college basketball.
Steve Kerr with us here, Willard and Dibs, Larry in for Dibs, 95.7 The Game. All right, Steve, it's the moment we've all been waiting for. The playoffs start tomorrow night. Here we go, big one. You got to have it, right?
Oh boy, I don't know what to make of it. I saw the court designs last week, and that's going to be different. I mean, it's going to feel different out there for sure. We want to win. I mean, there's something to play for. Our guys are the ultimate competitors, so we want to win this thing. We're going for it, but it doesn't mean I'm playing Steph 45 minutes. I'll tell you that. We've got a picture on it too.
Hey, I mean, are there any changes at all? Or is it just, I mean, I know, yes, you want to win it, but you're coaching this as a regular game like you would any other?
We haven't even talked about it yet. We're flying to OKC today, and we'll have our coaches meeting, and it's something we're going to discuss. But my gut is we go in with the same rotation. We've got a good groove going right now. We've won 4 games in a row, and I don't foresee doing anything differently. But maybe the competitive juices will get going, and maybe I'll bring Steph and our vets back a little sooner. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
Steve, incredible job by Dunleavy getting Pajemski and Jackson Davis. I mean, Jackson Davis at 57 and Pajemski. I mean, it's rare to see rookies that know how to play, that can play rotation minutes. I know you got a deep roster, but, man, you got to be impressed by just kind of how developed and ready to go those two guys really are.
They're both fantastic. I mean, Trey's played 125 college games, I think, and we've put him into 2 games now, and both times he's just looked like a 10-year vet. He just understands the game, and the game makes sense for everybody when he's out there. He's diving at the right time, setting good screens, he rebounds, he protects the rim. And then Brandon's just got a feel. He's got a way about him. There's something special about that kid. You know, he gets 8 rebounds in his first NBA game. You know, that's like when you get a guard who rebounds like that, it's a great indicator that he's just in the right place at the right time. And it translates to other stuff, steals, deflections, back cuts on offense. Like, Brandon sees the game, and I think it bodes really well. I would have zero doubt about putting both those guys into a game right now. You know, if anybody was injured, I'd have zero hesitation putting them out there knowing that they're going to do the right things.
Steve, I can remember a conversation last year about your pace, and you felt maybe it was a little too hot, and people thought, well, boy, Chris Paul's not gonna be able to handle this pace. So now we've got this blend. What's your take on the pace of your team so far this year?
I love it, and I'll tell you, I haven't even looked at the numbers yet. You know, in terms of the rating league-wide where we are, but I love the contrast. You know, Steph at the end of the Lakers series last year, he said we didn't have a changeup. You know, we only had a fastball, and I thought that was such a perfect comment. This year, I feel like not only do we have a changeup, but you know, we got a slider too. You know, we got a repertoire with Chris coming off the bench. It's a completely different look. We are going from sometimes frantic and hectic to totally under control. Last night, Chris had 8 assists, no turnovers. I think his numbers on the year are something like 41 assists and 6 turnovers. I mean, it's insane. And we just have a much better variety of ways to play. And you know, Chris and Dario are definitely at the forefront of that.
All right, Coach. Great stuff as always. And if you're going to weigh in on college basketball and baseball, then maybe we should do football too. You got any words of wisdom for the 3-game losing streak going on with the 49ers?
Yeah, we lost 6 in a row 2 years ago, and we won the title. So it's a long season. It happens. They'll be fine.
Sure does. All right, well, Coach, good luck with the largest game of your life tomorrow. With this tournament, we're all excited and we're all counting on you.
All right, thanks, guys. We'll see you later.
Steve.
Okay.